Hey everyone, this is Mike, and today I'm going to be talking about a feature that I would love to see implemented in Final Fantasy XIV, which I would be calling Materia plates. Now, the reason why I'm calling it like that is because of the glamour plate system that we currently have in the game. You have a glamour dresser that you can go to, you put your glamour in there that you want to wear, and then you can make specific glamour plates for it, which makes it very easy to switch in between one glamour to the next. Of course, it still needs to be applicable to the job that you're playing, because you can't wear red mage gear on a tank or something like that. But for example, if you have, let's say, 4 or 5 different tank sets that you like the look of, like for example my Poncho, then like the Midas tank set, maybe the Eureka tank set which looks really glowy, and then maybe some other like basic glamour set or something like that. And then if you want to switch in between them, it's as easy as just clicking one button, equip glamour plate, and then you're pretty much done. And it's really easy to switch if you get new gear and that kind of stuff, really easy to work around. Now the reason why I kind of wanted to talk about this, but then from a Materia perspective, is because all of the jobs in this game want different substats, or at least a decent amount of them do. But a lot of jobs also share their gear. If you look at, for example, the tanks, they share. Healers, they share. Melee DPS shares to some extent, some left side, some right side. And then of course ranged and casters, they also share all of their gear. But when we look at what each job themselves want when it comes down to substats, it can vary quite a bit. If you look at the casters, for example, we have Red Mage and Summoner that want pretty much no spell speed. But then if we look at Black Mage, they want pretty much all of the spell speed that you can get. So it's kind of annoying if you want to play both of these, because either you're going to be gimping Red Mage and Summoner, if you for example go for that maximum spell speed, or you're going to be gimping your Black Mage because you go for the minimal amount of spell speed that's there. And then of course not only that, but other jobs might want different substats as well when it comes down to like crit, direct hit and that kind of stuff. Because if we look for example at the tanks, all of the tanks can share their gear just fine, except Warrior. Warrior is the only outlier because it doesn't want direct hit, it wants as much crit and death as possible, whereas the other 3 tanks can work with a lot more direct hit, and they also want more direct hit. So if you want to play Warrior, you're kinda gimping your other 3 tanks, whereas if you want to play the other 3 tanks, you're kinda gimping Warrior. And of course, my 2 favorite jobs in the game to play are the 2 tanks, Warrior and Gunbreaker, so it kind of feels really bad. And then in the current rate tier where I'm playing caster, I'm switching in between all 3 of them every now and then, so it feels kind of bad that I can't have that high spell speed build for my Black Mage either, unless I want to be remelding every single time I switch in between these jobs, which is something that I don't want to do either. Of course, we do have the materia retrieval system, which is a really good start already, being able to take out the materia out of your gear. But of course, this is not a 100% surefire way of getting your materia back, as it's like a, 40% chance or something like that to get your grade 8 materia back, which is of course a relatively low chance, and more often than not, you'll lose the materia. Still really happy that it's there, because it makes remelding not too horrible. But on the other hand, of course, if you want to just be switching in between these jobs willy-nilly from on a weekly basis or something like that, or for example, say you like playing, like for example, let's say you really like playing Black Mage for 5, 6 and 7 when it comes down to Savage, but then for 8 you would like to play Red Mage or something like that, just to have that extra res available in case your players were to die a lot or something like that, if that is a fight that you struggle with a lot, then being able to just switch in between these jobs is something that's very cool. When it comes down to playing in Party Finder or something like that, maybe you can get bored of a job after you play like 4 or 5 runs of Innocence on Gunbreaker or something like that, and then you want to do the next 5 on Warrior, something like that. A materia plate could really help with making that a much smoother transition. Now, the reason why I say kind of materia plate is because I think that the glamour plates are a really cool system. You put your glamour into the glamour dresser, you equip it onto a plate, and then you can put individual dyes on that gear if you want to have like the same gear set or like the same glamour, but in different colors. Like for example, I can have plates 1, 2 and 3 exactly the same, but on plate 1 I make it white, plate 2 I make it black, and then plate 3, who knows, maybe I'll paint it yellow so that I can have my banana glam to fit in with the rest of my static, or something like that. It's totally possible. And then if I want to switch in between them, all I need to do is just press that one button, equip glamour plate, and my dice will change, even though my gear still looks exactly the same as it did with the other 3 glamour plates. So very cool system right there. And maybe they could do something similar with the materia. Now, when I was talking to my friends about this not too long ago, we were kind of thinking of maybe equipping it to your actual gear set, but then of course that kind of has the issue as well that your gear set is also registering the gear and that kind of stuff. So maybe that might not work out that well, because then when you equip a new gear set, you will have to remeld your materia in there. Now, the way I would think of doing it is to do it kind of like a glamour plate, where you select the gear that you want to be using, you put that inside of that plate, and then you just equip the materia that you want. So you can, for example, make a set of gunbreaker, like you just select gunbreaker and then you put in the gear for your gunbreaker, and then you equip the materia that you want to have equipped on there, you save it, you're done. And then if you make a second plate for example, warrior, you put in the gear for warrior that you want, or you like select it from your inventory or something like that, and then you just equip the materia on there. And then if you want to switch in between the two of them, all you have to do is just select equip materia, and then it will just switch out your melts just like that. I think that would be a really cool change, or just like a really cool addition to the game, especially for people that want to play different jobs in the same like role. For example, all tanks, all healers, all casters, that kind of thing. And I think it would solve a lot of frustration that some people have, especially people like me that enjoy playing different stuff but also still want to bring their A game. For example, when it comes down to warrior and gunbreaker, I played them in Alexander Ultimate, started as gunbreaker, so I of course had melts for my gunbreaker as well, but then in the end we ended up hitting enrage, and when I compared myself against other people, I was doing way too little DPS compared to others. And then when I just switched out my melts, something as simple as just switching the materia that was in my gear, I was all of a sudden doing 800 more DPS, even though I didn't play better. I just played exactly the same, but I was doing more damage, purely because I had different materia in my gear. And then of course when I later did it on Gunbreaker again, because I re-cleared on Gunbreaker at some point, then I had to switch my materia again, because otherwise my Gunbreaker wouldn't do as much damage as before, because it wants more direct hit and that kind of stuff. So I really think that something like a materia plate system would be incredibly cool. Of course, how they would handle this technically, I don't know. I am not a game developer. I'm just somebody that would really like to see something like this work, because it would be such a big quality of life change if you want to play multiple jobs in the same role that want different substats. Of course, something like, for example, Dancer and Machinist works together completely well, because they kind of want the same things. Summoner, Red Mage, they want the same things as well, but you're kind of alienating that one other job in your role as well, like in this case the Black Mage, or in the case of the tanks, the Warrior, or something like that. I really think this could be a great change to the game. But that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this. Do you think this is a good system? Should they implement something like this? Do you maybe have a different suggestion as to how they could go about this? Or do you not really think that this is an issue or something like that? So let me know in the comments down below what you think about it, and I'll gladly read all of them as well. But with that being said, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank my Patreons for supporting me, and I'll see you in the next one.